Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a look of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Hornet Report. I'm your host, Faith Wareham, and virtually alongside me today is the wonderful Chris Young. I don't know about you, Chris, but now that we're already into March, I'm ready to spring into our stories for today.
I agree, Faith. The snow is finally melting and spirits are lifting. Lucky for our viewers, we have some stories to lift your spirits during the month of March. First, we will dive under the sea with Amon Tolia for the HTG's upcoming musical, The Little Mermaid. On the topic of diving, Ben Samet will highlight our HHS swim team. Finally, Victoria Whittle rounds out the episode with a feature on Emily Baylock, who has qualified for the state finals in the Poetry Out Loud competition. But first, let's see what's going on with the cast of The Little Mermaid. Here's Amon with more.
Hi, my name's Amon Tolia, aka Sebastian, and today I dove headfirst into our high school's production of The Little Mermaid. Come under the sea with me. What's your favorite scene from the musical?
When Ursula comes out and sings to Ariel, that's probably my favorite part.
Under the Sea, I think, was a lot of fun because that's the number that we had the most people on stage, so there's a lot of different formations and different dynamic things happening. And then second would be Positivity, which is our tap number of the show.
Nice. And what's different from this year's production than previous years?
Almost everything, it seems like. We began the production with the idea that we would be performing live like we had done every production in the past, just with a couple of the guidelines in place for COVID, distancing, masks, everything like that. But as time has gone on, we've gotten into a place where we had a series of setbacks that we had to shift from live performance into something that's recorded. And honestly, that's going to be the biggest difference this year, is that we're not performing live for an audience.
This show is being put together in the midst of a global pandemic. So we are using a combination of virtual and live rehearsals and filming and a whole bunch of things that we've never done before.
I mean, obviously it's being filmed, there's no audience, we have to do it with masks, we'll probably have to do it with our books because we can't really have a lot of rehearsal time. But it's still the same camaraderie, we still have songs.
I can't wait for the show. I always get very excited when we get toward the end. You know, Tech Week can be one of the most stressful times, but I actually love it a lot. I'm excited to see what it looks like all together. We've never been able to put it all together at this point like we normally would, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Wow, I'm so ready to perform this show, and I can't wait for you guys to watch it. Back to the studio.
Wow. Even in the middle of all these pandemic restrictions, the members of the HTG are still going to be able to pull off a wonderful show. I'll totally be there to watch the show in early April. Moving from the stage and onto the basketball courts and swimming pools, here's Steve Siebel with HHS Sports. Take it away, Steve.
Thanks, Faith. Our girls basketball team finished this season 10-5 with a 7-3 record in the Shore Conference. Their final game against Neptune was live streamed on the HHS Athletics page. Let's check out the highlights. To start off the game, Catherine Martini at the top of the key dribbles down, finds Liv Palmer with pump fakes. She'll throw up a wild kind of layup and rims out. Rebound Martini back out to Liv, who finds Ryan Tail on the free throw line for an easy jump shot. The Hornets grab the rebound. Alexandra Rakopoulos throws it up towards Allison Cannon, a little wild. She'll flip it back to Alexandra, who shoots a three, and she's got it. At the end of the quarter, Lindsay Cannon will drive to the lane and hit the layup. Holmdel leads 17-5 at the end of quarter one. Early in the second, Ryan Taylor slowly dribbles up court. Abby Ferguson on the wing. Holmdel will run some motion. Lindsay Cannon at the top of the key finds a cutting Ryan Taylor, who finds a wide open Catherine Martini for an easy layup. Molly Julian for three. It's off, but she gets her own rebound and puts it in for two. Holmdel up 24. A missed free throw by Neptune is rebounded by Ryan Taylor. She'll slowly run the offense. Abby Ferguson on the wing. Catherine Martini flashes up to the free throw line. Finds Ryan Taylor on the wing for three. She's got it. A steal by Allison Cannon drives the lane, is hit and one. Holmdel takes a 28-point lead. Allison will make the free throw. Holmdel goes up big. As the fourth quarter comes to a close, Holmdel's going to win 62-41 over Neptune to end their season. A great finish to this season for the girls. Congratulations to all the seniors and best of luck in your future. The boys basketball team also wrapped up their season, going 8-3 and ranked 6th in Shore Conference final rankings. Alex Baker led the team in scoring at 16.5 points per game, whereas other senior Ryan Bradley averaged 10.5 points a game. Congratulations on the season, considering all you went through, boys. The boys swim team continues to break records every year and are looking dominant once again. Our own Ben Samet spoke with some of the boys to learn more about the team. Ben?
It feels good to be to feel welcomed by everyone, and it's just a good experience just to be all new to this and just have such a good first impression of the team and everything. And I look forward to the future, the next 4 years.
So essentially the conditions with COVID and stuff, definitely social distancing during the meets and stuff are definitely difficult depending on the facility. Also with practicing, so it really doesn't change too much if there's a lot of space in the facility. But I guess there are a couple important changes.
My goals are just to improve all my times and just help my team as much as I really can.
Try to go undefeated this season.
.200 medley record. That record's been broken basically every single year I've been on the team. And we lost our seniors, but now we have a lot of new promising freshmen and sophomores. And I think that breaking the record year is definitely attainable, and we can definitely whittle it down on my senior year too.
Thanks, Ben. Next episode, we hope to have updates on the next wave of sports, including wrestling, girls volleyball, and gymnastics. Until then, I'm Steven Siebel, and that's The Buzz in Holmdel Sports.
Thanks, Steve and Ben. Congratulations to the girls and boys basketball teams on your seasons. It wasn't a normal season, but at least there was a good season. And good luck to the swim team as they continue theirs. Switching gears, let's see what Victoria Whittle has to recite about Poetry Out Loud. Emily Baylock has done it again. The two-time HHS champion is on her way to state finals. Here's Whittle with Emily.
I am here with two-time Poetry Out Loud state finalist Emily Baylock. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, tell me about how you got involved and interested in Poetry Out Loud.
Sure, yeah. So, it all started my freshman year. Miss Caliana was my English teacher, and she told us that there was this cool program where basically you could memorize and recite a poem, and which is a big competition, so if you win, you keep moving up, and it goes to school competition, regional, etc. And it kind of piqued my interest, but what really got me interested was when I started reading the poems on the Poetry Out Loud website, and I started to realize how much so many of these poems connected with me. Poetry really felt foreign before that, but after I started reading poems, it started to feel really personal. And then once you memorize them and recite them, I think it becomes even more personal, and it just becomes something so special. And ever since that first time, I knew that I wanted to keep doing it. I was never going to stop learning poems.
She closed her eyes for a minute, took a breath, and began.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you picked your poems?
Sure. I mean, it's always a difficult process, right? You're just overwhelmed with so many poems. But I think the point is to try to find a poem that describes you in a way that you've never been able to describe. Or a poem where you read it and you think, like, this is the one. I don't have to read any more poems. I know I want to read this one. So I heard someone say one time, it's not about picking a poem, it's about finding a poem that chooses you. You know what I mean? And so I think it's just about looking for that connection with the author, connection with the poet, or something like that, and just really choosing one that speaks to you.
From her mouth, perfect words exploded, intact formulas of light and darkness. She dared to rhyme with words like cochineal, and described the skies like diadem.
So you've participated in Poetry Out Loud before the pandemic, and now you are in the running for becoming a state finalist amidst a pandemic. So how have you prepared differently for this year's competition?
Oh, that's interesting. I will say I usually prepare a little bit more than I did this year. I think in previous years, when you only have one shot and you're going to be up on the stage in front of everyone, that really calls for, a lot of preparation, a lot of practice, and a lot of mental preparation of, I need to get myself ready for this big event. But now when you can kind of record as many takes as you'd like, I'll say that I focused less on memorizing the poems and more on how I want to convey them. And to be frank, I think I enjoyed it more when it was an in-person kind of thing. But I think I'm so grateful that we can still do this in the pandemic. And, even though it's different, I still think it's a great opportunity to connect with poetry and get to know everything like that.
Quietly, she made her way to the exit, walked to the terminal, and rode back to Amherst. She never left her room again, and never read such syllables aloud.
Congrats to Emily Baylock on making it this far in the Poetry Out Loud competition for a second year in a row. Best luck in the finals. It takes a special student to succeed, something that could definitely be done by an HHS student. Well, Chris, that just about wraps up all of our stories for today's episode. Have anything else to share with everyone tuning in?
Just a public service announcement from our assistant principal, Mr. Brown, who has something to share about HHS's partnership with the Ronald McDonald House. Holmdel High School is accepting donations for the Ronald McDonald House throughout the month of March. If you have any goods on the wish list and soda can tabs, please consider donating them. Save those tabs from your soda cans and drop off all these items at Mr. Brown's office.
The donations have been more than expected. All of the clubs, all the advisors, they have stepped up tremendously to really promote being inclusive, collaborative, and doing random acts of kindness and paying it forward for those in need. So this is never going to end. The wish lists are always in the need. The soda can tabs help keep the schools running, and our goal for next year through our President's Council is to promote this and get this into the other 3 schools, which all of them are already on board and starting to plan on how we can contribute and make this a district-wide partnership with Ronald McDonald House Charities.
Thanks, Mr. Brown, and great job, Holmdel High School.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Hornet Report. Remember to follow us on our social media. Our Twitter and Instagram are at HHS Hornet Report, and our Snapchat is at Hornet Report.
Be sure to join us next time where we'll bring you this week's best at HHS.
Hornet!